In Nigeria, your child is your child, and over here,
There
the
is
government have a say. They just tell you, do
don't
not
abuse the
abuse
child.
the child. Parenting for me
Mm-hmm.
has been first about myself. My son changed. He started keeping more to himself. It didn't feel good.
Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's me
Yeah.
again, Funke Lemo, and with my friend Lara Onipede. I'm a Nigerian immigrant in Canada, and I post videos about my life in Canada. And if you've not seen our last video, make sure you go back and watch
It's
our
so
last
good.
video. We talked about what birthing is and postpartum in Nigeria versus Canada. In today's video, we are talking about raising a child in Canada, basically childcare, what it is like. You know, coming from a place in Nigeria that you can literally do anything
And get away with it.
and get away with it. We're not saying anything bad in that sense.
In Nigeria, your child is your child, and whatever you do with that child is up to
Is
you.
your child.
But over here,
There
the
is
government have a say
over your child.
over how you
Raise your child.
raise your child.
There was a very sad scenario you shared to me one time of
Yeah.
a woman that, took a child to the hospital because the child fell. And when
And had the head wounded.
wounded and could not leave the hospital with her child.
Yeah,
Because
they
they
took
felt
possession of the
of the
child
child.
because they felt how can a young child get that injured under your supervision as an
Yeah,
adult?
so things get very, very, sometimes it gets sad when we think of scenarios like that. And it gets very, very, you are afraid sometimes, but want to talk about what it is like raising a child here in Canada. And so stay tuned and make sure you watch till the end. So the first thing we're going to talk about now is discipline measures in Canada. How have you been able to channel discipline with your son? We are going to compare to Nigeria, where you can just call a child and just spank the child, and the child then not goes to school and say, my mommy spanked me. But here it's different.
It's different, right?
You know what even shocked me before you start talking? When she came here to tell me for a few days, when she's disciplining a child, she says, get me the discipline tool. I say, which one is that one again? Discipline tool. She say, I cannot say go and bring that cane for me, or I cannot say go and bring. She found a way to make sure that the child understands that, okay, I'm trying to discipline you. I'm not just trying to. So talk. Let me just stop talking. Talk.
Oh, thank you so much, Funke, for the privilege, and it's good to be, before you, everyone, as in to be on your screen,
in your face.
Again, in your face again. So it's totally different. Let me start from that.
Yeah.
But I would also say it shouldn't be different.
It's
different, but it shouldn't be different. That's one major lesson I've learned. I discovered that just like people are conscious here, we can be conscious back at home too, right? So I think the first thing for me was understanding what discipline is.
Thank you. Yeah, and differentiating it from what child abuse,
punishment,
and also child abuse. Yeah.
So my goal is to discipline my children, not to punish them. You punish an offender. A punishment is like judgment being met to somebody. You have done this, so you deserve to be punished
for this.
And I discovered that discipline, in it you have correction, in it you have teaching a child. It's in discipline. In discipline you have training. You have explaining to a child,
what's
making discipline. When you discipline a child, you're on the same page with this child. There's never discipline where maybe the child doesn't even understand what's happening,
going on.
All the child knows is that mommy is shouting, doesn't know why you are shouting, doesn't know what he or she has done
wrong.
That looks like punishment. So punishment is for you. It gives you a relief,
a sense of fulfillment that I did this to you.
But discipline is as both of you involved in it. So I think that's the first thing.
Thank you so much for explaining that. Discipline is one thing you have to understand and how it's done. I'm a teacher back. Thankfully, both of us were teachers back in Nigeria, and we know I was teaching in a school whereby it's very, very wrong to verbally abuse a child or use cane. It's very, very wrong. Find other means to discipline that child or correct that child for something that's been done wrong. So we need to understand positive reinforcement and how to use that in raising children. It takes a lot of
intentionality
and education, even for yourself as the mom, to know what you're doing and how you and accepting when you're even wrong yourself as a mom. Because trust me, growing up, our parents cannot be wrong in our eyes. We were not brought up to be able to question them and tell them that. But now we have little kids, your 5-year-old telling you that, Mommy, I'm not doing that. Why do you want me to do that?
Oh, your 5-year-old is going to challenge you. It's going to correct you. It's going to, it's going to call you by your first name. Yeah. My son calls me Mama, because that's how I want them to call me, just like a pet name. So right from when they were young, I don't want mommy. So I keep saying it.
Call me
Mama. So they call me Mama, and I love it. But because he sees his friend at school refer to their mom, maybe they are talking, and they say, "Oh, he came on one day." I said, "What is your name?"
First.
I said, "My name is Lara." I said, "No, I mean, what is your name?" So I told him, "I'm Lara." Oh, so I think I prefer Lara to Mama.
You are the one that would not tell the child.
I said, "I prefer you call me Mama." As simple as it seems, it can look offensive. Like, so why do you call me Mama?
Yes, it can just look offensive to you. Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Like, it's very different because of the cultural differences. It might take a lot of work.
It's not that it might take.
It will take a lot of work.
Let me say this. Parenting for me has been first about myself before it's been about my kids. It's been my opportunity to reparent myself. Because if you are going to be sincere, many times you will see yourself in these children.
Kids. Yeah.
So sometimes they are messing up, and I just remember, it just comes back to mind. Myself as a 4-year-old, as a 5-year-old, I did maybe worse than that. So it's my opportunity to be humble enough to let them know it's common to us. But then explain. I think the most important thing is understanding that in discipline is teaching. You don't demand of a child something you have, like, I have a discipline too, like she said, and my discipline too is what I used to pam if there's need for it.
Yeah.
There's a thin line between what we call discipline sometimes and child abuse.
Yeah.
So you don't want to abuse a child.
Yes.
We should talk about that.
That is where the government does not even want. I think there is also a rule, there's a law that you are allowed to spank. Yeah, you're allowed to spank, but just on parts where it would not leave marks on the body, and it must not be a lot.
Yeah, most of the communications I've received from the government, they don't even say maybe you're allowed to spank or not. They just tell you, do not abuse
the child.
Yes. So the question now is, what is child abuse
and what is disciplining the child?
So some of those communications, they will explain further things they talk about, things they expect, and then their mindset is you have to be responsible to have a child.
My level of intentionality, I think it has heightened just because I am in Canada as a mom, and I know that I have to be very, very careful of even things I say, because now that even your son is in at an age whereby he can go and repeat what you say in school. You don't want his teacher thinking that, like, you say, "Oh, I will beat." Imagine you say, "I will beat you," and they go to school and say, "My mommy said she would beat me." Compared to my mommy say, compared to you saying, "I will discipline you." I'll go to and say, "My mom say I will discipline you." Can you see the two of them? They have different. They will be perceived differently
just by the use of
words.
Yeah. Let me just encourage you here. Like, if you are watching this, you have a child in Canada. No fears. If you have been tempted to fear, trust me, the best of us have probably been there. Not because of even the fear is not majorly like the government taking my child. The fear is I don't want to fail at parenting. I came to Canada, then I don't want to raise a child that is a non-entity
that would not listen to me, that would not be obedient. You want a child that you can proudly put in the midst of people, and you know that this child would make me proud. Yeah.
And it was thinking about that. I'm a person of faith, and by faith, I defer to the Christian faith. So I don't know for you, whatever it is, but for me, what my values allow me to do is to begin to pray about
it. When I heard you say discipline tool, I was like, no, that is wisdom, because you don't want to say,
and then your child goes to school every day talks about Cain.
You will just see child service at your door. Another point that that I want us to talk about is the effect of village. Back home we used to say something like it takes a village to raise a child. And now you come to Canada with permanent residency and it's just literally you and people that you have not even gotten to know. Me, I'm happy. I'm my own village. Came from me from Nigeria. I am happy, I am blessed, But there are people that they don't even have that village around them before or any close person. They've never met, had a community around them for them to. So how does that affect you raising your child? Like when you guys just came newly, how did you do it? How did you feel like, hey, how did you feel? How did you feel?
It's not easy for both the parent and the child because the children are also, for me, my son was going to be 3 and then my daughter a little over a year, and they are coming from a place where they had other kids to play with. You know how it is in Nigeria now. Your children can be at the neighbor's house and then you're not bothered for up to 2 hours. And then here we are locking them up in the house
with yourself.
I remember my son will always, revolt whenever we take him to the store and we're coming back home. He does not want to come into the house. He'll start shouting, I don't want to go into that house. Sometimes these people will come out.
Sometimes it's embarrassing.
It's embarrassing. And they say, what do you guys do to him in there? We have to explain to them. Then those who have kids, they can
understand.
Right? But if you are in that place, what I will tell you is it gets better.
It gets better. It might be crazy because it actually takes a village to raise a child. Look at now that we are here. Sometimes we just put the children together. We trust each other because the problem is before you can now get starting to trust people that you are just meeting,
it
takes a while. And that's why it's always very hard for the first few months or even years when you come into Canada. But know that with time you be open to getting to know people, go to the playground,
create your own village. If it's going to take 2 years for you to be able to trust somebody, then if you start today, the 2 years start counting.
Yeah.
But you have to be intentional, not because you want to use people, right? It has to be mutual.
Yeah.
For me, I'm blessed.
Yeah. We've known each other for years.
For over 10 years, since 2013.
Yeah, now we are raising our kids together, literally. Yeah.
So it's different. But if you are meeting someone for the first time, if it's going to take 2 years to get to a point where you can leave your kids with them,
you can trust
then
them.
The earlier you start, the better. So begin to reach out to people.
And also join communities. Trust me, it helps. Facebook groups, mom groups, WhatsApp mom groups, Nigerian mom groups. Like now we're in a group called Nigerian Mamas in Ottawa, and it just helps because that okay, these are people that you have like minds. There might not be, you share something in common. You get to know what's going on in schools. You get to understand how to deal with.
Responded to things. You can ask questions on this community.
So it actually helps. So reach out to communities like that because that will help you now start building a village for yourself and for your children. You can't do it alone.
Don't keep to yourself.
You can't do it alone.
It would take leaving your comfort zone, but please, it will be worth it. You can't do it
alone. Thankfully, Canada is a land of migration. There are lots of people from different parts of the world coming to Canada. There's not like some places that is just strictly you barely count the black people there. But let's talk about how did your child handle? How were you able to handle? Because things like hair, mommy, why is my hair different from this person's hair? How do you handle the difference in us? How do you handle your friends, your baby having a friend that is from India?
Yeah, I think the first thing I would say about that is let the conversation begin from the home.
Basic.
Let it start
from the house. With you
like,
in the house.
When I bathe Dogza and I want to comb his hair, sometimes it's painful. When you're trying to comb it and he doesn't, he wants to carry a rough hair. And I tell him, Dogza, it's enough that our hair is different. I was the first person who started telling him about that. So it's the nature of our hair that it requires for us to
give extra care.
Do this, do that. So we have to do it. So he heard it from me first.
Not from outside. That our hair is different.
And there's no big deal about it.
Yes, it's just the reality. We're just different. Understand that.
And this difference is just
saying
our expression.
Our skin. Love is not different. Kindness is not different. It's just how, this is how we look. We can see that we are different from this person.
Yeah.
So let them hear it from the house. It just helps them understand it better. You think that it was affected making friends.
Yeah.
When he left Nigeria and now coming to Canada.
Yeah. When we first got here, it was in the daycare, and that was easy. You know, daycare, everybody was a toddler. But when he got into elementary school, kindergarten, JK1, that was when I saw the difference. My son changed. He started keeping more to himself. Even at home, he does not want to talk to me. And
how did you feel?
You know, it didn't feel good. You have to be sensitive because it's even possible that is going on and you don't even know. So the first thing for me is I could tell that there's something different
about him.
He doesn't see you and want to just greet you. He started keeping to himself. So I had to start engaging him and, just talking to him, reminding him, and like I said, a very core value of mine is my faith. So I will always take So I would always take this back to
God
to go and begin to pray about these observations. But if you have done that, then you have to now just be present, like talk to them. Like
did you try to meet his teacher? Did you try to meet his friends? Did you try to ask that, okay, do you have friends in school?
Of course. I asked if he has a friend, and then I wanted to know what was happening in school. I got to find out he has a close friend who is black like us. I wanted to know if he has white friends.
Okay.
Because I wanted to his confidence like,
to relate with people.
And again, just to be real about it, there are people here, even young kids, who find it uncomfortable to be around us. Yeah. Because we and I don't blame them. I don't judge them. I think it's just human characteristics. I had an experience at the daycare. When you go to the daycare, you can't get inside with they have like a waiting area.
Yes.
And benches. Yeah. So you sit down. Like during winter, you pull your children's winter jackets, you change them and get them ready to move in. So, and then after school hours, you come and change them again. So I had an experience where we met a particular family there. They are Caucasians, white, and then we wanted to sit beside her, and the girl was moving. A 3-year-old.
Do you think? I think I get your point, but do you know that it's just the same way? I don't think it's because she doesn't just understand how you are like that.
Let me tell you, our mother was very uncomfortable with what she was doing.
Yes, our mother will be uncomfortable. I'm telling you that those children they don't know. So they don't feel like, why are you different from me?
It's the same way a Yoruba person feels. He will prefer to relate with another Yoruba person than
that's just it. So it's not like
it's just the human nature.
So we cannot call it racism like that. It's just our human nature to just feel like, okay, we connect more with people that we know.
We have something in common with.
Deliberate effort.
So I had to program my son not to keep only black friends,
relate with people.
So, and because I was doing that, he started mentioning Henry,
other friends.
They are not as close. It's real.
Yeah.
I'm not there with them. They are not as close as he is with the black guy, but at least he starts relating with them, starts playing with them. And I prepare him that, people can choose to be kind or to be unkind. People can choose to love or not to love. The most important thing is what you choose
to do. Yeah. So helping them to see from that little age that they can be responsible. Just have the conversation with them
first. So that whatever is coming from outside, because even for us as adults, I had a treatment where my first job, I interviewed people on phone. That was what I did. It was a market research company. So in doing market research, they have a list of questions they prepared for us, then you ask. And then I will call some companies and they will tell me categorically, I'm sorry, I want to speak with somebody who can speak English.
What are you speaking?
What am I speaking?
English.
In fact, there was a particular man. It became like a joke between the two of us. That's how powerful your interpretation is. He said that to me, and then I said, "Oh, that's okay. I hope a colleague of mine, because the way it is, I don't choose the person I call.
You call.
It's automated. So I said, I'm going to drop the call. I hope you get to talk to a colleague
that speaks English.
He laughed and then we dropped the call.
What are you
like
speaking?
An hour later,
you called.
I just heard his voice. The guy said, "You again? I'm going to drop the call. I hope you speak with somebody who can speak English." I think they gave him to me like 4 times, and at each time I will laugh and drop the call and tell him the same thing. What if I had taken it personal?
That is not English I'm speaking.
It may be a racist. That's for him.
But for me, you, it's just what it is. It's just what it is.
So, because some parents project their own insecurity on these children.
Yeah, that's what we should avoid, because we have to reparent ourselves, especially in Canada here,
like this,
before you can now parent your children, because things are done absolutely differently, and you don't want to fail, most importantly, for being a parent or for being a mom, especially. If you're already in Canada and you're raising your child, trust me, you're doing the best you can. Just know that we all can relate to what it is. To the fears that we feel sometimes. We'll just keep doing our best and keep helping them learn. I hope you really enjoyed this conversation.
I hope so
and
too.
To all women out there, you all are superheroes.
Fabulous.
You're amazing. You're doing the best you can. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Thank you, my friend, for coming on the show.
Oh, the pleasure is mine.
And see you in our next video. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye. Raising a child? I'll follow you.
Yeah. You're good. You're good. Hello, everyone. Welcome back.
You'll be bringing
Let's take a picture.
You'll be bringing subjects that are deep, that you can break into 3 self. Discipline alone is one subject. Find your village.